Welcome to the ultimate guide for Escape from Tarkov starting in 2024. Now, if you are a new player wanting to start Tarkov in 2024, or if you're a player that has given this game a go, still don't quite understand the vast knowledge of this game, then this is the video for you. We're going to be breaking down step by step pretty much everything to do with Escape from Tarkov. We're going to be starting off with the USEC or bear section in the PMC. And then we'll go into all the traders, the quests, leveling, maps, Scav, bosses, and all that stuff before we get into the raids. And when we do get into the raids, we'll go like step by step into how to complete some of those quests and tasks and how to go about it. Now, Escape from Tarkov is an ultra-realistic FPS shooter, unlike any other game you've probably played before, unless you've played some survival games in the past. So not like COD where you have to like when you reload your mag, your mags are full, you've got to actually reload the chambers in the mag itself, all different weapon types, different modding in the weapon screen. There's a lot to learn about Tarkov. It also wipes every 6 months, which means the game resets for everyone. This is trying to make it fresh and enjoyable for everyone playing the game. So all those people that do play the game non-stop pretty much finish everything in the game in the first few months. And this means that when it does reset, they've got something to grind again. Whereas like the new players, like you've kind of got 6 months or so just to get as much as you can done. But yeah, by that 6 month mark around, Christmas time and then mid-year and around July, that's when the game does reset, just to keep that in mind. All right, so once you load Escape from Tarkov, you will be greeted with the choosing your language screen. For me, it was English. I've clicked English and I've moved on to the next screen. And this is where you choose your nickname. So this is going to be your player name in game. So if you happen to die in the game, which you probably will multiple times, everyone does, you have a dog tag with your ID, which is going to be your nickname. So for me, for this account, I'm just going to call it Schmittens. I seem to do that for all my old accounts. And once you've done that, then you have two different factions to choose from. Now, this is going to be your player character. So you have your bears on the left and you've got your USECs on the right. Now, new players tend to look at these and then go straight to Google and see what they both mean, and that is totally fine. I'm just going to break down very quickly what each of these mean and possibly a suggestion for new players to choose. So voice is the first thing. So if you choose bear, bears are Russian and they have Russian voice lines. So you do have voice lines in game. If you are not communicating to people you're playing with through Discord, you can actually do this in game through the player communication. So they do speak Russian. The only downside there is these scavs in the game, which are the AI that roam around on each map. They also speak Russian. And for a new player, it can be very confusing to tell the difference between the two. There is a slight difference, but again, it can be very confusing. So you may not know if there's a scav nearby or a player bear nearby. On the other side, you have the USECs, and they speak English, so they do have English voice comms. So there's the two differences between the voices. The only other thing that is different between the two is the clothing. So you can see there's different clothing. You've got some army pattern here. They're both green, and then throughout the game, when you level up, you'll be able to unlock different clothing. It's purely just cosmetic stuff, so it's not a massive deal there. Or it just comes down to preference. The one big thing between these two is that when you level up and you go onto the map Lighthouse, they actually have rogues, which are like an insane version of a scav. This is when the big difference comes in. Okay, so if you're a bear, they will see you and they will shoot you on sight from a mile away. Whereas if you're a USEC, you can kind of walk straight up to the camp where the rogues are and they won't shoot you unless you shoot them first. So for new players, it's probably the best option to choose USEC. Not just because they speak English, but it's just easier in that mid to late game. When you do go to Lighthouse, you can actually do some of those quests a bit easier without dying straight away. Alright, so for the purpose of this video, I am going to choose bear because my main account is a USEC. So I'm just going to click on the faction I want, click next, and then I can now choose between the different names here, which are actual different faces for your character. It's all just going to come down to preference what you want. Once you've chosen the one you want, then on the right side, then you have their comms. So as you can hear, that is a Russian voice line. So again, if you choose this one and you use that voice line in game with around different scavs, other players in the game may not be able to distinguish between the two. which may be a good thing for you, but the same thing on the other end, if you're hearing that compared to a scav who do Russian voice lines as well, you may not be able to tell the difference. They have recently added in some English voice lines for the bears as well, which is very new. Alright, so I have chosen my character. I am now a bear, and then you'll be coming to this main menu here. Another thing to point out is for bear and USEC, if you choose bear, then you start off with like an AK-47. If you choose USEC, then you start off with an M4. And the day, it doesn't really matter. Two very similar weapons that pretty much do the same thing, just run different ammo types. So the first thing you want to do, I guess, what you can do is click on Escape from Tarkov, and then you'll see your PMC, which is the character you've chosen, and Scav here on the left. So if you choose PMC, this is where you load into the raids. This is what your character that you've chosen, all the gear that you put on this character, you choose your PMC, you choose the map that you want, and then you can load into a raid. We are not going to do that just yet, because we're going to go through all the different menu types and all the basics to do with Tarkov before we actually get into a raid, because there is a lot to know. On the left side, we do have Scav. So as I mentioned before, there are Scav AI in the game, and these Scavs roam around every map. They are usually in a group, not like a small group, and you do hear their voice comms. They kind of give it away. They aren't too dangerous, but I do say that they can one-shot you every now and then. Happens to the best of us. So just be mindful of that. But when we do get into the raids, we'll go step by step how to take them out and how to loot them and stuff like that. Okay, so if you do select Scav, you can actually play as a player Scav. So you get a random loadout every time you choose your player Scav. So you load into a raid. It'll be about halfway through a raid match. You get random gear, and then when you open your inventory, you might even get some random or rare loot from time to time. And then you don't get killed by Scavs. Because you're one of them. So you can roam around with the Scavs, you can loot with them, you can pretty much do whatever you want. You just gotta be wary of other players around because they will shoot Scavs. If you choose to shoot an AI Scav, then all the Scavs will just kind of target you. So just be mindful of that. But yeah, feel free to use your Scav to loot around, get what you can. Whatever you do extract with, you get to keep and put into your inventory. So it is very handy to have. If you are trying to get some certain items for quests, you can actually use your Scav, go into a map, try and get as much as you can, or try and find those items, extract with it, and turn them in. Only thing it doesn't do is actually count towards your quests where you need to locate certain things. So for the ground zero quest at the start of the starting quest, we need to locate like a grenade launcher. We have to use our PMC for that one. We cannot use our Scav. Also, there is going to be a timer once you use your Scav, once you extract. There'll be a 20-minute timer for you to wait until you can use that again, and you'll get a random loadout again. So don't have to worry about that just yet. If you go to your character, this is where you see all of your gear that's currently on your PMC, as well as your inventory. Now, if you have the standard edition of Escape from Tarkov, you will see a pouch down here, which is your alpha container, which has 4 slots. And what this is used for is that if you have anything inside of here, when you are in a raid and you die, you don't lose this. The rest of your stuff here will be lost. However, the stuff in your alpha will not be lost. So the stuff you want to have in there to start off with is probably having some heals. And if you find any like rare items in your raid, you can just swap them out into your backpack or your rig, and then you can put those rare items into your pouch so you don't lose them. Another thing to keep in mind is that when you are in a raid, the items that you do loot usually have to be found in raid. So what that means is you'll see like a little tick on that item that says found in raid. If you hover over it, it'll just say found in raid. I'll show you that a bit later. But pretty much you need items found in raid for a lot of the quests. And also when you get to level 15, which is the flea market, we don't have access to that just yet. This is where all the pet players can sell all your items that you find in raid. So there's a lot of stuff that you can find on here in terms of building your weapons and buying different gear. But when we do get to level 15, then we can actually go through that then. But items do have to be found in raid to go into the flea market, so you need to make sure your items are found in raid. Okay, so as you can see, we have our earpiece here. This helps us hear in game. Headphones actually work. Okay, so if you don't have headphones on, it limits your ability to hear certain things, hear footsteps. But if you do have headphones on, then it allows you to hear different sounds and footsteps that are nearby. Headwear does come in handy. Like hats, obviously not going to protect you too much from bullets to the head, but you can purchase different helmets that will protect you from the head. And you can have some face covers as well, which protect you. Like if someone's aiming down sights, it kind of just covers your face a little bit, so you're not as noticeably seen. Different body armors in the game. So if you click on these body armors, you actually see how much it weighs, and you can also see how much the armor area is here as well. So you have actually added in some different plates. That's very new for me as well. I haven't played for a couple of wipes, so this is something that I have to get used to. So as I go through this step-by-step guide, and as I go into the raids, I'm going to be learning this as well, and you can kind of see how I adapt to this as well. So you do have different changes. This was a level 2 vest. You can go vest up to level 6, but now that I've added all these different plates in, I believe you can get higher level plates and put them into lower level vests. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll show you how I learn that as I go about it as well. So as I said, for a bear, I can start off with the AK. This is just one of the guns that I get as a bear. If I choose USEC, then it's going to be an M4, and then you have your different mags here that go into that gun. So if I click onto the AK, I can see here it's 545x39. That is the type of weapon it is. And then if I click on the mag, it tells you that same one there, 545x39. Okay, so that one right there would go into that weapon. So I need to make sure that if I have my AK on my person, that in my rig, I have those same mags with the same ammo type in there. Again, ammo type. If you click on the ammo, you can see 5.45x39. That is the right ammo for this mag, which is the right ammo mag for that gun. So you can make sure that all the bullets inside these mags are the right ones. If they're not, the gun will not shoot. Okay, so what you can do is right click on that mag and you can go unload ammo, and then you can see 0 out of 30, and all you have to do is just drag that onto that mag to fill it up. Now, when you are shooting in raid, it's not like Call of Duty where your next mag is full and that mag that you just taken out is reloaded. You have to manually do it yourself. So that could be, I shoot 15 bullets out of this mag, I reload a new mag, and this one here has about 15. So for example, if I do this, so say this has now 15 rounds, I now have to repack that in raid to make sure that's full. All right, and when we get into the raids, I'll show you how to do that. When you're in your stash, you can just do it as before and just drag it on there. It'll automatically go in. When you're in raid, it will do it one by one. So just keep that in mind. We will be doing that plenty of times, repacking our mags to make sure we're full to go when we do get into an engagement. All right, next up here, we have the traders. So what we have here is a list of different items that they sell, and you have the different traders up the top here as well. So we see different green ticks here. They're the ones that actually have quests or tasks for us ready to go now. But these are the people that you kind of want to level up, because then they sell better gear, and then you're able to get better stuff as rewards as well when you do complete quests and tasks for them. Okay, so we have Prepple here. He has a quest for us. If we go to tasks, you can see we have shooting cans. There's a bit of information about what the quest is there. We're going to do step by step into how to do all these quests anyway, so don't stress too much about that. But when you do have a new quest, you just click on it, click accept. And what it does now is it tells you what you need to do. Okay, so for this quest, we have to go to the new map Ground Zero, which I have not done yet. So we're going to be learning this together. I have to locate this machine gun on Ground Zero. I have to locate a grenade launcher, and then I can eliminate any targets on Ground Zero. So whether that's scavs or other player PMCs, I just have to kill 5 of them, and then we complete that quest. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on all of these traders, accept all these quests. So again, I have to go to Ground Zero, locate the MCOM station, and then hand over any medicine items. So I believe that's just any 3 medicine items. They don't have to be found in raid for this one. So all I have to do is I can pretty much buy different items, I believe, and hand them over. For skier, I'm going to accept this one. So we've got burning rubber. Use the paid vehicle extraction on Ground Zero. So some maps do have a vehicle extraction where you do have to pay a certain fee to use that extraction. As you can see here is the image of a car. This is what it looks like in the raid. Peacekeeper we don't have unlocked yet. Mechanic, we accept him, so save them all. Again, another one on ground zero. So we have our starting quest on the new map ground zero. This is new. It usually is a Prapor quest as well as a mechanic quest to unlock Jaeger. So this is going to be very different for us moving forward. But we'll go step by step into how to go about learning where you are on ground zero, because we have to try and find where we load in, and then where to find extraction so we can actually get that loot out and ourselves out safely. Alright, so I kind of touched on leveling and why it's important. So as you level up, then you're going to, like, by getting more experience in the raids and completing different quests, then you're going to unlock different items and gear from traders. So that's kind of what the goal is. You want to try and get your levels as high as you can to get better gear. So as you can see here, if I'm on Prapor, for example, you have lots of different ammo types here. If you click on them, you can see what type of ammo it is, different mags. So this one here is for my AK. So if I did need more mags, all I have to do is click on that, choose how many I wanted. All you have to do here is just click on select autofill, and then it selects your cache in your stash to go straight here. So if I want to get, say, 3 mags, I choose 3. It totals the number here. If you've got enough cash, you'll have a green tick. If you don't, it won't show that tick. But that's how you buy items. So if I wanted more AK mags, that's where it is there. If I wanted more AK ammo, I can now hover over and see which is the correct ammo type, which is either 545 US or 545 PRS. Now I'll give you a link in the description below of an app that you can use to see the different ammo types and their different values. So some values will do better damage on flesh, while others will do better on armor and armored plates. So you need to make sure you kind of have enough damage or penetration on those plates when you come across players. The high flesh damage ammo types are probably better on scavs because they rarely have really good armor. So you can use them, but I suggest using a bit of both, just so in case you do come across players or PMCs, you can take them out. Okay, so how do we level up these traders? So I've just selected Therapist, for example. On the right side, you can see your current attitude, which is level 1, and your next loyalty level is level 13. So you need to level up to level 13 in order for this to change, to meet the requirements. In terms of this one here is your reputation. So for your next loyalty level, you need 0.15 rep. I have 0.20 because I have the Edge of Darkness edition of the game. So this is the high tier one. The standard edition, you will start at 0. It's not a big deal. All you have to do to increase this is by doing their tasks. So if I go to Therapist, their task, and you'll see that it's plus 0.01 rep there. So as you do more tasks and quests for each of these traders, that will level up. And by the time you get to level 13, this will be at 15 anyway. And on the right side there, you have your 400k spent. So you don't have to spend 400k to Therapist. You can sell items to Therapist as well. It all calculates together. So whether you're buying items or if I'm getting different heals, it'll go towards that spent. If I sell items, so such as this one here, I can actually click on the sell here, drag that over, and that will count towards that spent as well. A quick way of doing that is by holding left control, hovering over the item that you want to sell, left click, and then it automatically goes over rather than you having to drag it over. Okay, so it works both ways. Left control click when it's in here, and same when it's in your inventory. In terms of selling gear, you can see if you click on Therapist, you can scroll down. A lot of this is grayed out because you cannot sell them, and all the highlighted ones are the things that you can sell. Okay, so this will be the same for every trader. So if you go to Prapor, he will take certain weapons and ammo types. Therapist will do a lot of barter items. Mechanic will do a lot of weapons and parts as well. And Ragman will do a lot of body armors and bags. Alright, so we've kind of gone through the basics of our player and our stash. I haven't gone through the different healing types yet. I'll do that in a separate video because there's a lot to learn with that as well. And it's kind of probably the most confusing part of when I started learning Tarkov is the different types of healing, especially when someone's shooting at you in raid and you're just in a different panicking state and you don't know what to do. So we'll go step by step into how to do that. What we'll do now is we'll actually go to the different maps. So if you go to Escape from Tarkov, you go to your PMC or your Scav, you click next, you can see the different maps. Alright, so the first one we need to go to is Ground Zero for our starting quest. So you click on that, and then you can see different times. So one here is a nighttime slot, and then over here you have your daytime slot. It goes every 24 hours, so it's going to keep rotating through. So eventually this one will be your daytime, this one will be nighttime. You can do nighttime raids. I suggest you don't do that to start off with until you get some night vision, which is probably later on, like mid game. So you probably want to click on the daytime slot so you can see where you're going. So the first few maps that you will be going to, so the first one I've got a few quests, is Ground Zero, which is the new map. It was customs as well as woods. So they're probably going to be the main ones that we're going to go to first. Again, when we get into the raids, I'll show you where you need to go, how to identify where you are. We'll get a map up as well, showing exactly where we have loaded in and where objectives are in terms of quests, and how we can go about it in different ways. Another thing I want to point out is that for each of these maps on the right side, you can see how long the raid duration is. So if I click on each of these, you can see this one is 50 minutes. Majority of these were 50 minutes last time I played. Some of them seem to have dropped a little bit, but that's okay. In the middle, we'll see they'll say the difficulty of that map. Don't be daunted by that. It's just there to scare you a bit, I think, because majority of the time it isn't that bad. It also tells you how many people or how many players can go on that map as well. Also, there's no solos, duos, trios, or quads. Everyone gets put into the same raid. So if you're a solo, you can go up against players who are in a duo, trio, 4-man, or even 5-man squad. So just keep that in mind when we are going into the raids, that you could come across multiple people in a team. You can usually distinguish them because they're usually stuck together as a group. Because when you are in a raid with teammates, there's no HUD display that tells you who's on your team. So it's not like COD where it has like a little symbol above their head saying their name or that they're on your team. There's nothing like that. So you have to communicate with them so you don't team kill them, which is also in this game. So usually what they're doing is they're sticking really close together so everyone knows where they are. And that's usually when you're a solo, you can usually see them all grouped together. So you just got to usually, your play style is going to be adapting according to how these raids go and how many people you do see. You don't have to play this game in a super aggressive way where you're out there trying to kill everyone in the entire map. You can play a bit passively if you choose to do so. You can be creeping around the map just being a bit quiet so you're not heard by other players. You can really play this game in any way you want. There's no right or wrong way. There's multiple ways you can go about playing Escape from Tarkov and still being successful. All right, so this game is pretty much for everyone and anyone because you can play this game in any way. There's no one way to play this game. All right, continuing on, we are going to go to the health tab. So this is where you can see your overall health. So you can see it's 440 HP and you can see the different damage areas here. So in raid, if you get shot in the arm, then you can see the different value there, which means that needs to be healed. What you can do is actually bind these different heals to different keys. So if you just drag them on, or if you hover over it, you can actually press that number there. So you can hover over it and press the number, and that will change to that. So if I, so you can change that to 8, 6, 7, 5, you know, whatever it is, okay? So when you're in raid, you can just see the bar there, and then you can click on that item. That will it's a lifesaver when it comes down to Tarkov and you're panicking, you don't know what to do. You can just look at that bar. In order to turn that bar on, if you go to your settings and you go to here, you can see your quick slots. You can change that to always shown. It will default to auto hide, which means it won't show it unless you're using it. So just put always shown there. Your health condition, you want that always shown as well. Health color scheme, I've changed it to polychrome, which means if I'm healthy, my outline of my player will be green. If it's on monochrome, it will be grayed out. So it's easy just to see that. If you're all good, you're green. If you do have a damaged limb, it will change to red. All right, so health is pretty important. Yeah, if you do have your keybinds set up there, you can do that. Otherwise, if you're in raid, you can actually go to your health tab and drag on different heals to different items if you need to do that. The next tab here is skills. So as you play Tarkov and you do your raids as your PMC, these skills will start to increase. Now, certain things that you, I guess, will be doing it naturally. So endurance will level up naturally as you sprint. As you level up each time, it will give you a little bit of a bonus. So you're able to sprint a little bit longer with your endurance. Same for your strength. If you're carrying a lot of weight, this will level up. And then as this levels up, then you'll be able to withstand more weight as you go on as well. So you kind of want that to be leveled up. Your health as you heal will level up naturally. Same with your vitality. And all this stuff will be going up naturally as well. Your attention, memory, and stuff will level up as you loot things. So you kind of want to loot as much as you can. We'll be doing that quite a bit anyway because we need a lot of items. So don't stress too much about this as a beginner. I'd worry more about what gear you're running and how to do this first. Now, if you come down to the bottom left, you see a Hideout tab. If we click on this, this is a kind of like a mini game, I guess, the best way I can put it, where you can actually craft different items for your PMC. So give a little welcome message here. So you can use items as resources you find in raids or purchase to build and improve various areas of the hideout. So they can be leveled up to get different items. So you can see this one here is ready to construct. I can click on this. I can use 25,000 rubles to construct it. And that is done there. And you have different levels. But what you want to do is kind of make sure you're starting to level some of these up. So this one's locked at the moment because I need these different items. Once you craft an item in here, that item will be found in raid. So that's actually going to help you lots in terms of quests. You'll see me using this quite a bit as well. Because with some items, it's easier to start crafting rather than trying to find them in a raid and RNG. We find those items. So for like the med station, for example, finding the different heals that we need to find, the Salewers, might be best if we find this first. So if we come across a syringe, the pile of meds, the bandages we can actually buy from therapist, and then the multivitamins. If we have all these items that we find in raid, we can actually use these to construct the med station, and then we can start using different items to craft our Salewers. So we do need to find 3 Salewers found in raid. If we don't find them in our raids, then we can craft them there. So this is a very handy guest station that we can use to help us progress in the game. If you wish to go into a private match and start learning these maps, this is how you do it. So if, for example, I'm going to click on customs, I'm going to click the daytime slot, I'm going to click next, and then you get this prompt here. So in order for you to get into the full raid, you would go onto the next screen, and then you'll see this page here, which is your insurance, which you can pay a certain fee to certain traders that if you do die and this gear isn't looted, then you do get this back in insurance within the next 24 to 48 hours. All right, so we'll cover that later when we do get into the raids. We don't have to do that for now. We'll go back to this screen. All you have to do is click on Enable Practice Mode for this raid. Once you've clicked that, then you click on Game Settings, and then you can change a few things. So you got some PvE settings here. The top part is just the weather, so whether you want it to be raining or sunny. It will default to sunny, so I do not click any of these. If you go to PvE settings, you can see the AI amount. Now, when it says as in online, it means that when you're in a normal raid, it'll be the scavs will load in normally, and their difficulty will be the same. What you can do is change this to none or low. To start off with, I suggest you to go none. That way, there's going to be no AI scavs. It's just going to be you in that raid. When you do load in, you're going to be focusing on where you've loaded in, trying to find those different landmarks of where you are. What I'd suggest is you pop up a map of that place you've gone to on a second monitor or second screen, whether that be a mobile phone. And then you're going to be trying to identify where you have loaded in. Now, the spawns are going to be around the outside of the map. And say you are on the east side of the map, your extraction will most likely be on the opposite side of the map and vice versa. Okay, so for example, I load into customs. I'm going to find where I am, trying to find the different landmarks, and then I'm going to try and find my extraction, and then I'm going to go straight there. So for beginners, I suggest this is the best way for you to practice some of those maps because you can load in, you can go into different buildings, you can find where different loot is, you can loot different bags and items, and then you can try and find that extraction. So I've just loaded into a practice run, and this is where I have spawned. Now automatically you'll see on the top right, they're my extraction. So the ones, so if it does disappear, just double tap O, it'll come up again. I'll see your time, so you have 40 minutes. You have ZB013, and then to the right of that, it's left blank. And there's a couple there that have question marks. The ones that have question marks means that those two may be open or may not be. So the Dorms V-EX is the vehicle extract. It's not always there. You have to go to the dorms or that extraction point to see if the car is there. And that's where you'd pay that fee to get into the car and extract. Okay, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Same for Smuggler's Boat. Okay, there is a campfire next to a river. If the campfire is lit, that extraction is open. If it is not lit, it is not. Okay, so you can it's kind of a bit of a gamble if you do want to go to those extractions to see if they're up. But it can be very beneficial by going there anyway just to see if they are, because it can be a quick way out. Now, all these other ones there that don't have question marks, they are your set extractions for this raid. It will change depending on the spawn that you have. Okay, so if you're looking at the map, I'll bring it up right now. If I have the ZB013, Crossroads, Trailer Park, and Ruaf roadblock extracts, they are all going to be on the similar side of the map. Now, as I mentioned before, if I'm loading in a certain area of the map, my extractions are going to be on the opposite side of the map. So if my extractions are all on this side of the map, then I've spawned somewhere on the other side of the map. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to try and find some landmarks. Okay, so as I'm looking around, I can see a train, some train tracks here. I'm seeing some piping. I'm seeing some silos. I'm seeing a big warehouse. All right. So try and pinpoint where you think you are and use those different landmarks. Okay, so now I can see something over this direction here. So let's jump over here. See if we can identify what that is. Now you will notice that there is a lot of snow. This is a new update from the Christmas wipe. There's added some snow in, which is pretty cool. I haven't experienced this yet, so this is awesome. Alright, so we are now at a gas station. So now you can try and find this on the map as well, just to have a bit of a landmark of where you are. Alright, so we'll just go in here just to get a bit of a sticky beak as to see what's in here. So pressing F to open. And then look inside. Now stuff will spawn on the ground, on the shelves. Alright, so you can kind of just look around, search certain things. As you can see, your inventory comes up and then the item would be there. So you just drag that into your inventory, or holding left control, left click, automatically goes into your inventory. Alright, so we are at the gas station here, and we are going to try and find one of our extractions. Now the main one is going to be Crossroads. The ZB013 requires us to turn on power and have a key to open the door, so we're not going to worry about that one today. We will be using it eventually when we do get into the raids. Alright, I'm pretty much just going to be running in this direction here, because I've got my gas station here, and I'm now on a road. I can see a bit of a bridge, and I'm going to go in this direction here. Alright, so I distinguished that I'm on this side of the map, and now I need to get over to the other side in order to get to the extraction. So there's going to be certain objectives that we have with these raids that require us to go to certain areas. For the purpose of this, I'm just going to go straight to the extraction so you see what that looks like. But there's going to be different pathings that we take. I'm going straight down the middle of the map now. To my right, I have the bus station here. And past that on the other side, we have our dorms, which you can just see in the distance there as well. So we have a 2-story on the right, 3-story on the left. That's going to be a pretty big one on customs. It is a hot area. And on the other side, we have kind of a construction zone. And then just past this concrete pole area, we have a big warehouse known as Fortress. It's also going to be another good area for loot. So you can go in there, you can go into all these different buildings and loot certain things. So we're going to keep running down this way, still following the main road, because our crossroads is going to be on the other side of the bridge. Alright, so we're pretty much past the halfway mark of this map already. It is quite large. We are not going to explore everything today. Again, we are just going to go straight to the extract to see what that looks like. Alright, I do have Ruaf roadblock. Now, if you're following me on the map now, I'm getting to a bit of an intersection here. We have a wall with a gate through it. If we follow that all the way down to the end, that is where Ruaf roadblock is. And all you have to do is stand behind the truck, and then the extraction top right will light green, and then the countdown timer will start. Alright, so we are now at the bridge. We have a river underneath. We also have a bit of a land bridge over here that you can cross. So if you do spawn on the other side of the map, that is something you can cross here, as well as here, this bridge here. We have another one here, land bridge that you can cross. And on the other side, you have some containers that you can cross. The smuggler's boat extract is over here by that corner. And as you can see here, I do not see a campfire, so that is not up. Okay. See, I'm not too far away from here and crossroads, so it's not a bad idea just to swing past this extract anyway to see if it is up. Then you can kind of cross that land bridge there to get across the river towards crossroads. Continuing on, we're going to cross the bridge here. Some of these cars do have loot in them. But as we cross over, we now come to the train tracks. I am going to go around. You can go prone underneath, but we'll just swing around this way. As you can see the bottom left there, I am sprinting, so I'm just pressed left shift. And my green bar has depleted. Now I'm going into a walk, I'm puffing, and now my green bar is starting to creep its way back up. So my stamina is regaining. Once it goes back into the green, I can sprint again. If it is red, so for the purpose of this, I will get it to red. You cannot sprint until that is regained. So it's red now. I've stopped sprinting. I'm pressing the shift and it's not working. It won't work until it goes green again. We might swing into this one. So we are next to Big Red. So this is the Big Red warehouse right here. Okay, there's a pretty big landmark if you spawn on this side of the map. Just look for this big warehouse, you know exactly where you are. Now in some of these little rooms here, you do get little boxes here. So this is a medicine box here. What do you reckon you get out of this? You get medicine, okay? So right here, we have some meds, we have a cheese, probably help us with some heals, and you have some filing cabinets here that you can loot. They give you some various items as well. Alright, so you can loot all of that. If we're going to go to Crossroads, we'll just go out the same door we came in. And we'll keep following the road down. And as you can see on the map, we are pretty much there. So if you are a beginner, I suggest, load into a private match. Try and learn some of the early maps. So Ground Zero is one that you have to go to early on for requests. Customs and Woods. Woods is quite large. It's a forest wood type area, obviously. If you do load into Woods, have a look around where you are. If you have little signs coming out of the ground, they are landmines. Do not go into them because they will blow you up. As you see, extraction starts counting down as soon as I'm here, and then I would have survived that raid. So as for Woods, if you come across those signs, turn away from them, do a full 180, go in the other direction, and then you can kind of see those different landmarks, or try and identify different landmarks from there. Okay, I think I've covered pretty much all the basics to do with Tarkov in the menus, in terms of your character, traders, flea markets, the health bar, how that all works. I will be doing a separate video on healing because there is a lot to learn about that, as well as your different weight limits, your energy and your hydration, because that is also another key aspect when you're in raid. Make sure you're hydrated, you have energy, because that will deplete over time. So I'll do separate videos on them. If you do have anything that you want to learn more about, or if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. And hopefully this helped you a little bit. We will be going through step by step into raids eventually, but we're just doing the basics first just so you can get your head around this. So if you did enjoy the content today, make sure you leave a like and subscribe for future content. We're doing future videos on how to help you improve in Tarkov and start your journey in this wonderful game this is.